All right. So, Shalom, man. I just want you guys to see something. Wow. Um. So we know the ancient Egyptians were black. Okay. We know that they were a race of black people. Hamites were black, but we know that the ancient Egyptians, the ruling class, were also black, but they were not Israelites. They were Hamites. Your pharaohs and your mummified bodies. The only people who qualified to get mummified were rulers, were kings and queens. They were the only ones who were put in mummified casts and who's to have their bodies preserved. I guess they felt it was a ritualistic type thing to the gods or something, because they were all heathens. They were not Israelites. But the slaves, the people who worked in Egypt, who worked for these rulers, who slaved for them, were Israelites. Those who built the Sphinx, who built the pyramids, those were all Israelites who built those pyramids in Egypt. But I want you to look at what you're looking at right now. I want you to look at this real quick. Take a look at this. But before you gather an understanding, I'm going to give you a little background. White folks have been saying for a long time that the ancient Egyptians were white. Now, they have to say this. They can never give Egypt. They can never give Egypt up. They can't give Egypt up because then it's going to unravel all the lies that they've been telling. And which we won't go into right now. We're not going to go into any of that today. But the so-called white man will go through great lengths to make you believe what he wants you to believe. Even creating a fake mummy that has blonde hair and that has long blonde hair. Look at the hair on this fake. And they supposedly dug this up. They say they said that they dug this up and this is what we found. You didn't find that, my ass. This is from a friend of mine on Facebook went to Egypt, and this is one of the mummies that she saw. But you do understand that Esau and the nations are in charge of this. So what their number one goal is to do is to discredit that black people had anything. Their number one goal, Esau and the nations, the number one goal is to detach greatness from blackness. And we're not black, we're brown. But I want you to just go with it for the sake of the conversation and just for the flow of context. They want to detach blackness from greatness. And in order to do that, this is one of the ways in which they're trying to achieve that. Is by saying that the Egyptian pharaohs and king and queens and the ancient Egyptians were not a race of black people, but were white people. Well, why is his skin black? Oh, well, they're gonna say that his skin turned black over the process of time, as a result of decay, as a result of the body decaying. But if you look at the skin really good, you can see that it looks like makeup to me. You could tell this is they made this. This is like, it looks exactly like one of the monsters you see in scary movies and shit. The so-called white man is the devil, man, and devil means deceiver. That's why the Native Americans first was one of the first people to give him that name, was because he goes to great lengths to deceive people, to deceive the world. He just wants you to believe that he is God. Like, he wants you to believe that, you got to understand, he put himself up as the Most High. You look up the word God, you're going to see a white man pop up. You're going to see a picture of a white man going to pop up. Because the white man wants to be everything great. He wants to be all of that great stuff. He wants to be great in the earth. He's propping himself up as being just the best thing since sliced bread. We need you, white man, and we can't do without you. You are the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and end. That's how he wants us to look at him. And they've been peddling this lie about ancient Egyptians being a race of white men and women for a long time. I mean, a very long time. Egypt, for one, is a nation is located in Africa. Like it's in Africa. It is completely in Africa. Like you look at the map, you watch the map, you can see it's attached. It's attached. There's no river dividing it or not. It's fully detached. It's fully attached to Africa. Believe me, they've tried to detach it. I assure you they've tried, but it come to no effect. The Lord ain't gonna let. I mean, white privilege is gonna go so far. But here's what they can do. They're gonna do what they can do. They whitened all the the hieroglyphics. They've taken the brown out, and they've in most cases they didn't remove all of the brown. They just lightened it, really light, like really light, so that you can be convinced that the Egyptians were a race of white people, because they really want you to believe that the ancient Egyptians were white, and they were not. They were black. But this is some of the shit the so-called white man goes through. This is some of the links he goes through to deceive the whole world into believing that, to prop himself up as the greatest of all time, when he is the basis of all men. Then Yahweh himself said that. The Creator himself said that about him. He is the basis of all men. Basis meaning the lowest. No, you can go no lower than a white person. That is the lowest you can go. The lowest you can. They're not even white. But again, just for the flow of the conversation. But you see the bullshit they up to, man. Look, they go in Egypt and they touch all these mummies and shit, and they add all this shit to the mummies. How they made the nose all small and the lip. They took away his lips. If this is even real at all, I don't believe at all it's real. It's not. I've been telling you this is not real. It's faked. They took the dead body. They took the dead body. If it is a dead body at all, then they exhumed the dead body of a white man with long blonde hair, and they put him up as a mummy. The white man will go through anything. He will do anything to deceive you. Anything. He don't give a fuck what he got to do. As long as at the end of the day, you believe the lies he's telling. Don't believe the lies he's telling. You're smarter than that. Be better than that. Because he's not. Shalom.